Good morning, my name is Meghan Nalaboff, and I'd like to present my capstone project that I did on leadership. Before I begin, I'd like to give a little bit of background as to where I did my actual project because it's a little bit different. I did it at St. Jude Church here in Monroe, and it was through their Emmaus retreat. So it's a annual retreat that is prepared for year-round. It's attended by students and kids who are in 9th grade all the way up to senior citizens. Before I began my actual project in the fieldwork, I knew that I needed to have a goal, so my purpose throughout the whole project was to learn how to be an effective leader. And then I made a wordle below that is anything, any adjective that I felt that went along with the idea of purpose. So I included words like life, every day, to be greater, it's a mission. Beginning my project. My mentor was Mrs. Norma Bissell, who I've known for a very long time, probably since I was in 1st grade. She is a resident here in Monroe, and I met with her the summer of 2013 in July and August to complete my project. My essential question that I asked myself before beginning was, what is something that I can do that I'm truly going to benefit from? My work in the project was to shadow Norma. She was the table leader coach for the Emmaus retreat. The table leaders on the retreat are the kids who are the go-to people for the newcomers. So anyone who's new coming on the retreat, it is a weekend away from home. For some kids, it's their first weekend away. You don't have your cell phone. You may not have a friend. So our job was to coach these table leaders to be responsible and a person that the new kids can go to at any point in the weekend. So I was shadowing Norma, and first we began in the summer in July, and we sat down and we created an outline of what the summer would look like for us and how we would get the job done in a timely fashion. So we created schedules that were both manual and electronic, so it taught me to be responsible for checking my email, typing up the work when I needed to, sending it to her to check. There was a big learning process there. Then we would plan meetings that we were going to have with the table leaders to teach them all their responsibilities on the weekend. And then we actually held these meetings and team building events. So Norma and I would get to the church a little bit early. We would meet in the social hall. We'd have food and whatnot so that everyone could socialize before. We knew that it would be important for the actual table leaders themselves to truly be a team and be a working unit if other people are going to be relying on them. In my everyday life, this project served me. I would like to major in early childhood special education, and I think that this project will really help me. I think that as a teacher, I'll need to have control over my classroom and my students, and I think that there's also a fine line between being an effective leader and being a monopolizer. And in my current work, I teach dance classes, I babysit, I also work in an accounting firm. I know that all of my jobs, I need to be a leader. When I'm teaching dance or babysitting, I have to be a role model for young girls. And at my job at the accounting firm, I have clients who are dependent upon me, so I need to be sure that I'm responsible and a good leader for them and know how to help them. And in my education here at Massac, I've been president of FBLA, National Business Honor Society, and held other leadership roles. And this project forced me to take what I've learned here and bring it outside of the building. So I knew I could be a leader here, and the role was given to me, and it was known that that was my job. And when I had to actually step outside of the building and bring my skills that I've learned here, it was probably the biggest stretch. Later in life, I of course want to attend college, and with my career, I know that I will need the skills to be an effective leader. The research I did prior to beginning my project was all supported and accepted upon completing my project. I read an article, The Importance of Leadership, published by the Utah State University. This article outlined qualities of a good leader. So it was characteristics like dependable, reliable, confident. All of these characteristics definitely prove themselves true. I knew that anything that they said in this article, I had to be at all of the meetings and any work that I did with Norma, otherwise no one would take me seriously. The next article that I read was The Importance of Time Management by Max Marcha. This was by far my favorite article because I completed my capstone the summer before my senior year. It was definitely a busy time, trying to prepare for college, writing my essay, and completing assignments that I had to do for MASIC. Making a schedule that worked for me to do my hours, and also I had to make a schedule that worked with Norma. So we had to, be flexible, and that wasn't always easy, so I had to create time to get this project done. So managing my time was one of the biggest things. The Importance of Effective Management was the last article that I read, published by the Times Magazine. My favorite word in the title was effective. Norma and I had meetings, and we certainly could have gotten off track and spent hours together just chatting about whatever, but we knew that we needed to, be responsible and get everything done in a timely fashion because we had people who were dependent upon us. I'd like to show some pictures. The retreat isn't actually at St. Jude, it's at a site at a different location, but all of my work was completed at St. Jude Church, which is in Monroe, right in the social hall with Norma. And as I previously mentioned, Emmaus is an annual retreat, but it's prepared for year-round. So we recently just held Pasta with the Pastor at St. Jude. It was on November 22nd, and here is some of the Emmaus community here serving the pasta, and Monsignor was there. And then all the parishioners or anyone who wanted to attend. And this was some of our fundraising that we do, so that way the trip is affordable to anyone who wants to come. So in conclusion, I'd like to just reflect on some of the major obstacles for me when completing my project. I would say the biggest obstacle was having to work with people who were so close to me in age. It was difficult to maintain a friendship with them while also maintaining a leadership role. It was difficult to find the balance, and at first they weren't necessarily happy that someone their age was going to be leading them or, being above them. So that was difficult for me to be able to be friends with them and also be a leader for them. And as I mentioned before, the time that went into the project was another obstacle, making my schedule work with other people's schedules. That was another thing that I had to overcome through my project. I also brought with me today some examples of the schedules that Norma and I created. So we had spreadsheets, we had minute-by-minute schedules of the weekend. Another thing I wanted to mention was that upon completing all my hours with Norma, I wanted to say thank you to everyone that I had worked with. So I made a little bag, and I have an example, one of the pens you put in them and just a little cross, something to give them, because I felt like one of the most important things as a leader was to say thank you to them. Thank you for their time, their hard work, all the efforts they put in, and I expected them to put in. And then it was really funny because Norma actually ended up giving me a gift as well. So it became full circle. So that was my project.
Meghan, let me ask you a question, if I may, please. Next to contending with this age variable that we just mentioned, would you say that collaboration was the second most important thing you learned? If you're going to structure something like this, collaboration is the key?
I would say collaboration is key. It let me experience something new, but it was also important to be working with others. I think that, that was probably one of the biggest lessons that I learned.
Were you surprised to discover how much time was consumed preparing this?
Definitely. Norma and I would schedule a meeting on a Thursday night. We'd meet in the social hall, and we'd say, okay, we're just going to meet for an hour. And 1 hour would easily turn into 3. So I think that anyone who wants to be successful in their project needs to be willing to dedicate the time necessary to be successful.
Feeding off of Mr. Fodder's question, this is a volunteer position, I'm assuming, for Norma.
Yes.
Do you, and therefore a lot of time that she's putting in, do you see yourself doing this again? Like, can you see yourself putting
absolutely.
those, volunteering to do something like this again?
Definitely. I would love to be able to do what she did for me, in the current future, coming up, but, in the long run too, when I'm older, be able to do and provide the opportunity that she gave me because she was so willing to, you know, put things aside and do this with me and meet with me and help me. And she does have another job. She works at IBM. She's certainly busy, but she was so willing to. And I think her being such a great mentor will then inspire me to be somebody's mentor.
What might have inspired you or prompted you to shift? Because I know you've had an interest in business, now you've been shifting to early childhood education. And so was there something particular within your capstone experience that strengthened your decision to make that change?
Definitely. So originally I wanted to major in accounting prior to beginning my capstone, and then once I finished, I completely changed, and I know that I want to major in education now. Through completing my capstone and doing all the hours and working with people, I realized that that's really what makes me happy, and I think that I realized if I have to get up and go to work every day, then working with people and others and being able to share and connect a little bit more is more where I would be happiest. So I think that, yeah, doing my capstone, and I changed my major, you know, which affected where I want to go to school, you know, subjects that I want to study. So it was I benefited from this project for sure.
In education, I would testify, it gives you more opportunity for that creative, imaginative thinking
Yes.
process you appear to like so much.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
First, I really love how you said that your experience forced you to bring what you learned through your education in Monroe outside of the building, because that really is the point of capstone. And just one quick question, what, if anything, would you change from your entire capstone experience? Field work or
I
any
think
part of it?
if I could change anything, it would be, it's a tough question. I think it would be one of the obstacles that I had with some of the kids where it was like I was their peer and then trying to lead them. I think I wish I could have been more alert to that or known that coming into the experience, but I guess there it is, the learning that I did. But if I could have known or had a heads up or perhaps not been taken so off guard by that, because I truly was, I wasn't expecting it, or, you know, handled it better and, you know, not just to kind of, because I did at first, my reaction was to kind of cower away, and that was something that I learned, you know, no, I am the leader, I have to stand up and create that fine line between the two.
Great job. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you very much.